Chapter, if you see the revised syllabus, it will start from the topic atomic spectra. Now, what is atomic spectra? That we can understand if we know the meanings of a few terms. Let us discuss them one by one. First is dispersion. Splitting of light into its constituent radiations is called as dispersion, and the pattern which this light produces after splitting, that is called as spectrum. Okay, the instrument which is used to separate radiations of different frequency or wavelength is called as spectroscope or spectrograph. So the instrument is called as spectroscope or spectrograph. Now there are two types of spectrum: emission spectrum and absorption spectrum. When light of a self-luminous object is passed through a prism to get a spectrum, then such a spectrum is called as emission spectrum. Emission spectrum can be of two types: continuous spectra and line spectra. Name itself is telling you continuous spectra means that when the light is passed through prism, the spectrum consists of 7 colors which have no separation among themselves. You cannot separate from where the next color is starting. So that type of a spectrum, it is called as emission spectrum. And the second one, continuous spectrum. This was a continuous spectrum. Second one is line spectrum. In line spectrum, what happens? The radiations emitted by the excited substance, like if some extra energy is provided to a substance like a gas or vapor of chemical substances, and then that radiation which is being emitted by them is analyzed by a spectrograph, a discontinuous spectra is obtained which consists of lines separated by dark bands. So this is called as line spectra. For example, sodium, it gives 2 yellow lines corresponding to wavelength of 5890 angstrom and 5896 angstrom. So such type of spectrum in which separate lines and bands are obtained, they are called as line spectrum. The second type of spectrum, first was the emission spectrum, second type is absorption spectrum. So when a beam of light, continuous light, is passed through a solution or vapor of chemical substance, we get spectrum containing number of dark lines. This is called as absorption spectrum. These dark lines appear due to absorption of certain wavelengths. So the certain wavelengths are absorbed, and depending upon how much wavelength has been absorbed, different lines are formed. So that is called as absorption spectrum. Now next type of spectrum which you have to study, it is hydrogen spectrum. Now hydrogen spectrum can be obtained by passing electric discharge through hydrogen gas taken in discharge tube. This tube over here, this, if you see the diagram here, this tube, this is the discharge tube. In this, hydrogen gas is taken at low pressure. Okay, a series of lines are produced here. When it passes through a prism, series of lines are produced which are obtained in infrared, visible and ultraviolet region when analyzed with spectroscope. So this is called as hydrogen spectrum. Now there was a scientist by the name Rydberg. Rydberg gave a formula. That formula is called as Rydberg formula. So this was a simple expression for calculation of wavelength of various lines in hydrogen spectrum. Formula is, see here, this is equal to this V, and on top of it this line, this is called as wave number. So wave number is equal to R into 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square, or 1 upon lambda is equal to R 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. So wave number is equal to 1 upon lambda. So that is why you can either write wave number or you can write 1 upon lambda. Lambda, you know, is the wavelength. Okay, and R that is used over here, this is Rydberg's constant. Its value is 109677 per centimeter, or you can also say it is 1.907 into 10 to power 7 per meter. N1 and N2, they are whole numbers. So for a given series, N1 is constant but N2 changes. Lambda, as I told you already, is the wavelength of various lines. Now if you look at the spectral series of hydrogen atom, the series that are obtained, first is Lyman series. N1 value will be 1, N2 is 2, 3, 4 up to infinity, and the region in which Lyman spectral series is obtained, that is the ultraviolet region. Second is Balmer. In Balmer, N1 is 2, N2 will start from 3, 4, 5 up to infinity. Region is visible region. Then next is Paschen series. N1 is 3, N2 starts from 1 above, that is 4, 4, 5, 6 to infinity. Region is infrared region. Then next series is bracket series. Bracket series, N1 value is 4, N2 will start from 1 above, that is 5, 6, 7 to infinity. Again the region is infrared region. The next is Fund series. Fund is N1 value is 5, N2 is 6, 7, 8 up to infinity, and the region again is infrared. And the last is Humphrey series. N1 value is 6, N2 is 7, 8, 9 to infinity, and the region is infrared region. Rydberg is also applicable to one electron species. Like I told you, it is basically for hydrogen, because hydrogen has only one electron. But there are other species also which have one electron, like helium plus, He plus. So helium has atomic number 2, and if it loses one electron, then it will be left with only one electron. So this series, this Rydberg formula can be used for He plus also, or like lithium. Lithium atomic number is 2. So Li2 plus will have only one electron. So this Rydberg formula can be used for Li2 plus as well. Okay. So this Rydberg formula can now be modified as 1 upon lambda is equal to Rz square into, within brackets, 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n1 plus 1 square. Alright. Just 1 minute. So this is about Rydberg's formula. Next we come to series limit. Series limit, the last line of the spectrum is called series limit. It is also called line of shortest wavelength and highest energy. For Lyman series, N1 will be 1 and N2 will be infinity. Alright, last line, like I said, N2 can range from 2, then 3, 4 up to infinity. So what will be the value of N2 for the last line? Infinity. Now for wavelength of first line, that is line of longest wavelength and lowest energy, it can be calculated as 1 upon lambda is equal to Rz square into 1 upon n1 square minus 1 upon n1 plus 1 whole square. So for Lyman series, n1 is equal to 1, n2 is equal to 2. For Balmer series, n1 will be 2, n2 will be 3, and so on. You can even count the number of lines in a transition. This number of lines in a transition is given by a formula. N2 minus N1 into n2 minus n1 plus 1 upon 2, where n1 and n2 are initial and final energy levels respectively. So how many lines are there? That also can be counted by this. Alright. Next I am showing you a diagram of, see here, it is the electronic transitions producing different series in hydrogen atom. This figure here is showing you the different series produced in hydrogen atom. You will see first is Lyman series in the ultraviolet region, then Balmer series in visible region, then Caston series infrared, bracket infrared, Fund series infrared, and Humphrey series in infrared. N1 is increasing from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 like this. Alright. Next, let us study about Bohr's atomic model. Now, Bohr's atomic model is based on Planck's quantum theory of radiation. According to this, electrons revolve around nucleus in circular orbits having definite energy. You know, nucleus contains protons and neutrons, and around it there are circular orbits which contain electrons. Okay. Now these orbits have definite energy, which are called as energy levels or stationary state. Angular momentum of electron in given energy level or stationary state is given by the formula MVR. MVR is angular momentum, is equal to n h upon 2 pi, where n is 1, 2 or 3 and so on. Okay, number of the quantum number, that is principal quantum number. M is the mass of electron, R is the radius of orbit, V is the velocity of electron, and h here is Planck's constant. Thus angular momentum of electron is quantized. This is according to Bohr's atomic model. It also says that there is no loss or gain of electron as long as it moves in a specified energy level. If electron is moving in the first energy level only, then there will be no loss or gain of electron. But if it goes from first to second, or it comes from second to first, then there will be either a loss or a gain of electron. So within the same energy level, there will be, if it is moving within the same energy level, there will be no loss or gain of electron. Emission or absorption of energy in form of radiation can only take place when electron jumps from one energy level to another, and that change in energy is given by the formula delta E is equal to E high minus E low, that is equal to h mu or hc upon lambda. So energy is absorbed when electron jumps from inner to outer orbit, and it is emitted when it jumps from outer to inner orbit. Okay, what does it mean? That the inner orbit has, when it is going from inner to outer, it has to absorb energy. That means inner orbit is having less energy, and if it is coming from outer to inner, then it has to emit some energy to be able to come. Now, fifth point of Bohr's atomic model says energy of electron in atoms is quantized. That means they have definite value and they cannot have any value of their own. It has to be, they have a fixed value. Now, the Bohr's atomic model was very successful. It was widely accepted, and the reason for it was, why it was successful, was that this theory provides stability to the atom. Second reason was that energy of electrons in various orbitals of hydrogen atom, He+, Li2+, etc. can be calculated by the formula En is equal to minus 2 pi square Me4 Z square upon N square H square. This is the formula given over here. This is the formula. En is equal to 2 pi square me4 z square upon n square h square. If you substitute the values of m, e and h, you will get En is equal to minus 2.18 into 10 to power minus 18 z square upon n square joules per atom. On further putting the values, you will get this will come equal to minus 13.6 z square electron volt per atom upon n square, or this can also be considered equivalent to minus 1312 z square upon n square kilojoules per mole. So any one of these formulas can be used for calculating the energy in a particular orbital. Negative sign of the energy, see in all the three formulas it is minus. This is showing that electron is under attraction towards nucleus. It is being attracted by nucleus, because nucleus has positive charge and electron has negative charge, so it is being attracted towards the nucleus. Radius of various atoms of hydrogen atom He plus or Li2 plus can be calculated by the formula Rn is equal to n square h square upon 4 pi square me square z. Rn is equal to n square h square upon 4 pi square me square z. If you substitute the values of mass of electron, E, charge of electron, Planck's constant, so you will get Rn is equal to n square into 0.529 into 10 to power minus 10 upon z meter, or you can also say that Rn is equal to n square into 0.529 angstrom upon z, which is equal to n square 52.9 z pm, where again value of n can be 1, 2, 3, etc. Radius of the first orbit of hydrogen atom is, because value of n will become 1 and z is also 1 for hydrogen, so first orbit of hydrogen atom is 52.9 pm. It is called Bohr's radius. Atomic spectrum of hydrogen atom can be explained by Bohr's atomic theory, and the velocity of electron can also be calculated for hydrogen He plus or Li2 plus etc. by the formula V is equal to 2.19 into 10 to power 6 z upon n meter per second. So this is the formula for calculating velocity of electron. You have to learn these formulas by heart. Derivation of the formula is not in the syllabus. Only application of the formula will be there. That means you will be asked numerical questions based on these formulas. So if you know the formula by heart, you can just substitute the values and come to your answers. Now, just like there were some advantages to Bohr's theory, there were some limitations also to Bohr's atomic model. It did not explain the spectrum of multi-electron atoms. It was only for those atoms which had a single electron. More than one electrons it could not explain. It did not explain fine spectra of even hydrogen atom. It does not explain splitting of spectral lines in magnetic field, that is Zemann's effect, and electric field, which is called Stark effect. This theory was not in agreement with de Broglie's concept and Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, and it did not explain the three-dimensional structure of atom. So as a result, it was not fully accepted, and a new theory came, that was quantum mechanical model of atom. This new branch of science was based on dual behavior of matter and Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, and it was called as quantum mechanics or wave mechanics. It overcame the defects of Bohr's atomic model. Now the dual behavior of matter or the dual nature was explained by de Broglie, according to de Broglie, all the material particles such as electron, proton, neutron, atom, molecule, etc. in motion exhibit two types of character, wave character as well as particle character. So that is the meaning of dual. Dual means two. Light radiations also show wave as well as particle character, and it is called dual nature of radiation. Now, light radiations, they show phenomena like interference and diffraction, which are the properties of waves. That photoelectric effect shows particle nature of light radiation. Photoelectric effect is shown by particles. Diffraction, interference are shown by wave, and both these properties are present in light, so that means it has dual nature. So de Broglie gave an equation which is written as lambda is equal to h upon m mu. So where m is the mass of particle, so mv is momentum, so this can also be written as lambda is equal to h upon p, or lambda is equal to h upon under root 2 ekm. So ek is kinetic energy of electron. Alright. Now if an electron has a charge q, and if it is accelerated with a potential of v, then lambda can be written as h upon under root 2q mv. Now you know that for a electron the charge is 1.6 into 10 to power minus 19 coulombs, and mass is 9.1 into 10 to power minus 31 kg, whereas value of h, Planck's constant, is 6.626 into 10 to power minus 34 joule second. So if we substitute these values in the above equation, we will get lambda is equal to 12.27 upon under root v angstrom. Okay, so this is the de Broglie equation. Next we have to study the quantum mechanics. Theory was also based on quantum mechanics, is also based on Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Dual nature we have already discussed. Now let us see what is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle states that it is impossible to measure at the same time the exact position and momentum of a moving particle, because if you will see a moving particle, if you try to measure the momentum, position will change in that much time period. If you concentrate on position, momentum will change. So both the things cannot be calculated simultaneously. Alright, so this is the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. You can show it by an equation that change in momentum, that is delta p, into delta x, change in position, is greater than or equal to h upon 4 pi. Or in place of momentum you can write m delta v, because mass of particle will always be constant. What is changing is only velocity. So m delta v delta x is greater than or equal to h upon 4 pi, where delta x is the uncertainty in the position of particle, delta p is uncertainty in momentum of particle, delta v uncertainty in velocity of particle, and m is mass of particles. Now you all know that electrons are not present in the nucleus. Nucleus contains only protons and neutrons. So why is this so? See, the diameter of nucleus is 10 to power minus 14 to 10 to power minus 15 meter. So that means that delta x is 10 to power minus 15 meter. Now according to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, delta x into delta v is equal to h upon pi m. So if you substitute this value over here, delta x into delta v is greater than or equal to h, value of h is 6.626 into 10 to power minus 34. 4 into pi value is 3.14 and mass is, I told you just now, 9.1 into 10 to power minus 31. Delta x, I've already told you, we'll take as 10 to power minus 15. So what you get is delta V will become 6.626 into 10 to power minus 34 upon 9.1 into 10 to power minus 31 into 4 into 3.14 into 10 to power minus 15. That comes to, if you calculate, delta V will come to 5.77 into 10 to power 10 meter per second. Alright, so this value that is coming is much higher than the velocity of light, and that is not possible. So therefore electron cannot exist in nucleus. Okay, so this is about the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. About this much you go through your book and try to do the numericals. Remaining part we will do in our next video.